to record this as well, just in case something happens. But okay, I think we are live. So if you guys on the replay, comment replay as well. Today we have Dr. Stephanie with us. She is a newer grad physical therapist, and just wanted to bring her in here. We've met maybe a year ago on Instagram.
Oh my God, not even, I feel like.
Not even. Yeah, I feel like less than a year.
Way less than a year.
Yeah, probably like 6 months, maybe. I don't know. The whole quarantine just messed up my whole time frame. Some days it feels like forever. Some days it feels a lot shorter. But yeah, we met like, let's say six months ago, 8 months ago. I feel like it was like in the fall or something like that. And just being able to see your growth as a person, how you've been doing on Instagram, as a therapist, the stuff that you've been putting out there has been like freaking amazing. And just wanted to highlight that, wanted to bring you on here. A lot of stuff that we talk about in here is growing our brands, and where, you know, we both have done it is on Instagram, where both of our audiences on Instagram. A lot of people have, like in this group, their audience on Instagram, we just don't know how to go about it. So I wanted to bring you in here because we were talking a little bit before this call, how like I don't make this sound negative or like an arrogant way or anything, but sometimes having a bigger following, because I've been, you know, maybe doing it a little bit longer, and sometimes it seems like so far out of reach of like, you know, yeah, you have all this engagement, but you also have a shit ton of followers. I'm like, you have more engagement than me, and you only have what? How many followers do you have? Just to kind of give people perspective.
I don't even think 2,300. Maybe it's like 2,250 or something.
Yeah.
It's not.
So
Yeah.
in the low 2000s, but you have like, you know, just as many, like almost all of your followers, you know, are pretty engaged in your content. And there's a lot of things that you do differently than I do. So that's why I want to show the perspective that one, like, you know, the different size accounts is just one small part of it. But you've done so many different things. I'm like, oh, I didn't thought about that. That's pretty cool. And so I just want to highlight a lot of that today. We'll go through that. So if you guys are on here, what's up, Kristen? What's up, Jess, Nikita, Rena? But yeah, can you give us a little bit of an intro? I mean, I guess I kind of did, but can you tell people a little bit about yourself? I'm going to tag a bunch of people because you're so popular.
Yeah. Go for it. I know so many of my followers like made the transition over here, and I'm like, oh my God, wait. Is this like mini influencer status that people are like legitimately following where I'm going right now? But yeah, so I just graduated in last June, so almost a year ago, which is absolutely crazy to think about. It's just gone by so fast. But I originally was doing outpatient ortho part-time, like in New York, you can do a temporary permit before boards. So we missed the cutoff for July, so we had to wait till October. So needed to fill in my time. And the place that I was at like had a huge social media presence, so they kind of encouraged us to do so. And I kind of knew already that I wanted to be involved somehow, like with social media, because I also like live on YouTube and have for years. So I feel like it just be a part of my mind at this point. When I made the transition after passing boards in October to kind of posting acute care stuff, it was like for a bunch of different reasons. And I think that's what kind of makes me unique. So it was because no one talks about acute care on social media. If they do, let me know and I will gladly follow them, but I've yet to find it. Maybe like a couple, like one or two, maybe three other people. No one really talks about it. There's a lot of people out there who also don't like advocate for what they do. I feel like no matter the setting they're in. And I mean that in a sense where like people post exercises or like outpatient special tests and, you know, a bunch of like clinical things, but no one actually talks about like the role of PT and like the impact that we can make on a patient's lives. And then I think just kind of it snowballed from there, where a lot of like pre-PTs and current PT students have been following me, and I get like bombarded with questions every day, and they're like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I'm like, okay, so a lot of people like what I do, and a lot of people have a lot of questions. So like, how can I best help the different populations out there? So yeah, that was a long answer.
No, that was a good like overall encompassing intro and everything that I definitely really appreciate. So like you said, with regards to, you know, people showing special tests. I know a lot of people in like an ortho realm are just like showing like how to do these exercises and stuff, but not necessarily like the role of how we do it. And you made a post today, a really good post today of like how, you know, acute care, like physical therapy, especially like post-COVID and everything that goes along with that. And I think a lot of times, like we just see like, you know, I think it's a great start in a great space that we're in, especially in the outpatient world. But like you haven't, like no one really has done this in the acute care world. And just even with just therapy in general, just like the angle that you've gone through. So like definitely has stepped into your own place. So maybe that probably is the reason why that you've, you know, been able to set yourself apart from a lot of other people like in the space, because the uniqueness of that.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
yeah. I'm still tagging, probably only halfway through. I think there was, like, honestly, I think it was around 50 people. I didn't even count yet, but I tagged some people. I'll like, as I ask you questions, so don't think I'm ignoring you or anything like that.
No, you're good. I know it's
So,
busy. It's hard to host.
yeah. And so like with a lot of this, right? Because with you, just, you know, I mean, I mean to say just, because like 2,000 followers is a lot, and a lot of people in here, like who would be happy with 2,000, whatever, 300 followers that are on here? Like comment me below, because like not even that, like I would say like out of your 2,000 followers, you have like 4, 5, 600 likes. You have a shit ton of engagement, so much of comments, but like with that, like I have talked about doing things, you know, and again, there's multiple ways that work. Like
Hmm.
with posting for me, like I have started off, you know, and still do this for the most part, try to post every single day on my feed. But, you know, looking through your Instagram, like you don't really do that. So like, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I say this to I had a couple of calls. I've been helping a few people out with their content, and like the one thing I always start off with and always emphasize is like post and do what you want.
Mm,
Don't stick to a schedule. Don't be a content creator that posts every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or the third week of every month. Like, it's going to drive you crazy and you're not going to enjoy it, and people are going to know you're not enjoying it.
mm,
So, I have I can like bring up a list right now of 50 plus topics that I want to talk about, but I'm not cranking them out like rapid fire because I'm also giving my audience time to consume what I'm putting out there.
mm,
And even though I'm not physically posting, I'm still engaging with them in other ways. So whether it's through their content or through stories or through their lives or, you know, messages, there's a ton of other things on the platform that you can use. So like why do you always have to make it about you and your posts in a way, like to kind of manipulate the words a bit? Like so that's been my take on it. I know there's 1,000 like how to maximize your IG pages and courses, and everyone's like you need to post consistently and whatever. Again, like you said before, we all have our different ways. In my personal opinion, how is you posting every single, like when I say post too, I also mean, because people get tripped up on this, I say like actual post, like caption, hashtags, like not posting on stories or something else. Um, but in my opinion, if you're gonna post every day, how are you gonna like how is your what is your audience gonna consume? They're gonna
right.
consume like a snippet of each thing. Because I even get notifications on my post like a week later. So people are still spending time on my 1 week ago post. Um, so again, it also depends on like the content that you're putting out there. Is it something that maybe like for example, I did an NPT video series like that I posted I think every other day, but that's because it was a series and I wanted people to they want to see the next part. So it's there's no straight cut answer. You have to find, and this is going to be with everything. You have to find what works best for you and like your audience, and the only way you know that is by putting things out, seeing what you're enjoying. You always have to bring it back to what you're enjoying. So don't try to please people, because the people that enjoy what you do are going to be the ones that follow you and stay with you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree as well, because I think I was like early on, I was like, you know, you got to post every day on your feed and everything, and I just came with a habit with it. And like just my page is a little bit different on my Instagram. because I do a lot of memes and stuff as well, but stuff like regarding to my personal story, the ways I share things as well. Like when I get in depth, like similar to how you do, like those aren't as common either. And like I said, like because it does burn you out. Because I did do that for a while, and it did burn me out. And people were like able to tell that it wasn't like I was just trying to crank out content, and so I had to take a step back and everything from there. And honestly, at this point, like a lot of my posts that isn't like just pure my story or anything like that, I have like a team that helps me out with it too. So that helps.
Mhm.
Kristen asked, what did you say about the pictures? She's launching an online business and she doesn't have a ton of pictures.
Oh, so I guess like actual posts
Yeah.
or I mean
Kristen,
it depends on like what your yeah, I don't know. It would depend on like what your business
yeah.
is.
So, like physical therapy with canine rehab, is that right, Kristen? And so I think you kind of touched upon it. I don't know if she's still on there. Oh yeah, Steph, what's your handle, by the way? I've got to introduce you.
My handle is dpt.steph. Also, my last name is not Haney. If we want to talk about that, Andrew.
Oh man, so yeah. Do you want to talk about that? I knew it
I'll
wasn't.
talk. Yeah.
I thought it was
So
your middle name, but because I knew your last name, but yeah.
yeah. So like I try not to put a bunch of my personal stuff out there. So also PSA, if you guys have friend requested me, I most likely deleted it because there's a few of you that I'll accept, but I'm also like I haven't gotten to the point where like I've separated business from personal stuff yet. And while I love all of you, I don't know how much I want to share personally yet. But if you do need to like get an email or figure contact me somehow, I would gladly you can DM me and I'll gladly give you my information. But like Haney is not my last name, so don't try Googling it. Just putting that out there. It's a really weird college nickname, and Facebook does not let you change your when you accidentally change it, aka when I made a mistake. It does not let you change for I think 60 days, so that it became a nickname and it's stuck for like 4 years.
That's so funny. It's kept it all the way through.
Pretty much.
Um, I was
But
told,
back to regular scheduled programming.
yeah. So Kristen asked, like, she's been told to post more, like more images and not just like words or stock photos. So I'm assuming like pictures of herself versus just like a Canva template or something.
Yeah. And like it's a so I mean I know Andrew, I feel like you've touched on this when you've done your Instagram audits, or I don't know, I feel like I got it from somewhere, but people prefer to see like a person behind an account versus a logo. So like I even try to tell my clients, if you're like picture unless you're like a business and you have a solid logo and solid branding, like don't try to make your icon like try to make it you, because people want to know about you and like what you're putting out there. So I guess the same kind of concept goes for posts. Like words are not bad, you can do it, but maybe don't try to do it for every single one, or try to figure out what the words are and how they can relate to a picture, because like a picture tells 1,000 words, so it can go beyond whatever that little caption is, and then you can always expand on it further in the caption.
Yeah, that's something I've changed recently, even on my Physiomemes page, because I'm the one that like runs it and owns it, like, and so just want to put my face behind it. Like I changed it to a picture of me wearing the Physiomeme shirt, so
Mm-hmm.
you'll see the logo. Just because people are more, because at first I was just known as like the Physiomemes guy. No one knew my name, and I was like, okay, it's probably like, it was great to be known as that, but I was like, like it's also like trying to build your own brand and everything with it.
Mm-hmm.
One might like have my name for like long term, so that's why I kind of like made that shift as well.
Yeah.
So for you, since you don't post like every single day and like killing yourself over that, you're probably 2 or 3 times a week whenever like you're in that creative space, essentially, whether you don't feel like um, pressured to do it. So like, because I have seen other ways that you have done it. So you say like because every time you post, you get highly engaged like interactions on those posts, and usually like back then it was like if you don't post every single day, you can't get the high engagement. But for you, you're
Mm-hmm.
usually able to get that. So like, how are you like messing with the algorithm, or how are other ways that you're talking about with engagement? I think you touched up on it earlier. So how can
Yeah.
you like stay in front of people still?
So I don't know anything about the algorithm. No one does. Like, and so anyone who claims that they do, they don't. Because honestly, like I was telling Andrew right before we started, and I was like, I think something's in the air and something jinxed me because this is the perfect example of not knowing how the heck Instagram runs. I try to categorize my hashtags. I try to use certain hashtags for whatever I'm posting about. And Instagram decided to say that only after an hour of having a post up, only one person found me via hashtags. And like, just to throw numbers out there for a second, I normally get on average 6 to 7 thousand reaches or whatever insights, reaches, whatever you want to call them, just from my hashtags alone. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what game Instagram is playing tonight, but not too fond of it. But I think when it comes down to like a method, I honestly can't say I have like a textbook one. I just play with it and like, okay, well, this worked, 2 weeks ago. Maybe we'll try it again and see if it works. If it doesn't work, how can I tweak it so it's similar to my last post, but not identical to the one 2 weeks ago? But like, so you have to keep like trial and erroring things. Personally, I think it's partly luck and partly that like when I'm not posting, I'm also staying on the app. I'm not like I'm using stories a lot. I'm messaging people and commenting on their stuff and vice versa. So I think like because Instagram or any social media is meant to be social. So the more time you put into it, that doesn't mean sit on your phone for like hours and hours a day. Um, Although some days because of quarantine, I might be doing that. I don't know if that changes anything. But I think, if you're building that community sense, then people are going to want to engage with you because of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like behind the posts.
Yeah. And that's something that I've like hit on as well of like the Instagram stories and engaging with other people and being on the app and like because I think a lot of people just focus so much on the feed, and I think early on when there wasn't an Instagram story like that, that was
Hmm.
the only thing that was important because that was the only thing that
That's
was there.
true.
And now with Instagram stories, and I do this all the time, like on these live videos, but like I follow, I think as of like earlier, like 3,800, 3,900 people. That's how many people I follow. If I go to the top and scroll all the way through, I may have 100 or so people that post on stories,
Hmm.
and I can
It's
go through
true.
all the stories really quick. So like even if it's a super low account and someone's following you, like they're gonna probably end up seeing your story anyway.
Hmm.
So people like to creep on others. That's why reality TV doesn't go away. And like it's just like seeing the up to date stuff and with like you can see trends, right? The whole point of any platform is to keep you on there longer. That's
Hmm.
the name of the game, right? So like there's no like we don't talk to Zuckerberg and know the algorithm with all these platforms, but if you're on Instagram stories, those things disappear after 24 hours. So the more stuff you keep putting on them, more people consuming that, it's going to push that in front of more people. And like I said, there's less competition there versus the feed too.
Hmm. And it's so true. And even to just drive that home, and I'll use like again, it's not all about numbers, but I'm using this primarily as examples. So normally I would say like especially on the days that I'm working, maybe I'll post like 2, 3 stories. Um, Average like 300 to 400 views a story. But yeah, this is the perfect example. Yesterday, I did a whole like I don't know 10 plus IG story thing. So I was explaining my new Amazon store, and I'm not even kidding. Had 500 people like voting on the polls I already posted prior to that. I had 700 plus views on each story, and I was like, why? Because I'm staying at the top of people's feeds because I was like, there was a new story like every 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So like that's the perfect example. Like you're staying in people's eyesight, like, and you can do it whether it's posts, whether it's stories, whether it's message.
Oh, I wonder if you cut off for a second. Still there, Steph? Oh, dang it, guys. You guys still in the comment section. I think Steph froze on me. And she's coming back on. She's coming back on.
What just happened?
I think it kicked you off. You was just spitting too much fire, so they kicked you off. Mark Zuckerberg's like, you apparently you do know the algorithm. That's why they're kicking you off.
Yeah,
So
I just displayed the hack. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like what you were saying, like every oh Deja, she's back. She's back, Deja. Will Boyd. He says 2 IG legends right here. You guys need to collab on an Instagram masterclass. It's like you can read in our minds, right?
Mm-mm.
but but yeah, so you were talking about how you were like, that's crazy about you get 500 votes out of your 2,000. So that's like that's crazy. Like, I don't get 500. Like I have 40 something thousand followers. I don't get 500 people voting. Maybe like 100, 200 ish. So when I made a poll up, because I think also I don't utilize that as often as I should, and I think you're just have done that for so much that people are used to voting and doing things in your story. And at the end of the day, like you post what people want and what people like. Like you do a lot of questions like, would you guys like this or this? Would you guys like this or this? And like a lot of the questioning, like you continually ask. So then it's like, okay, cool. You put that out in front of them the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So
People love polls. And like, I mean, I love taking polls, so like I can relate, but people like really love polls. So if you need something, I mean, yeah, like normally 50, 60 maybe people answer, like it's not normally a lot. So like, but again, people feel like then they have a voice with what you're doing.
yeah, and it's very easy for your audience too, because this is a little click, but that can give you so much information. Like you said, people love polls. That's why people love quizzes, BuzzFeed quizzes. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
Do those still exist? I don't know.
I don't know, but I need a good BuzzFeed quiz in my life.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some BuzzFeed quizzes after this. But yeah, like it was crazy, like just to see like the engagement that you have. Like you're always, because you do have engaging stuff that I like too. And I'm not even a acute care PT, but just the way like like your brand and your personality and everything that you've been able to put out there, like has attracted a lot of people to just watch your stories and your posts and everything with that. So
thank you, I appreciate that.
no problem. So oh, can you so this is one thing that I thought was the coolest thing ever, and I was so grateful to be a part of this a few weeks ago. If you guys follow GPT, is it dot stuff or underscore stuff? I can't remember.
Dot.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, y'all need to follow after this. If you guys are watching on your laptop, you guys can do it on your phone. But if you guys are on your phone, don't jump off. But anyways, follow her. Like she does things that like I didn't even think about doing. Right. So we're used to doing lives, and so walk us through like the way you did your live a few weeks ago that like I thought was so smart, so ingenious, and also so entertaining at the same time. Like all of it.
Okay, like I'm laughing because it was such a like this is what I mean. Like I just do what I want on Instagram because this was literally something that happened in less than 24 hours in my brain. I was talking to one of my old classmates who also is on Instagram, and everyone was posting their PT origin stories. I was like, this is great, but like I can't do all this talking in like one caption. So we were saying, he's in his 30s. I'm 26. He's in his 30s. He graduated PT school with me, but he was in marketing for 10 years. So we were just talking about the spectrum of ages and backgrounds that before you go into PT school. Mm-hmm. So he was like, oh yeah, like why don't we do a live together? And then, we have a little group chat with a bunch of newer grad PTs because we all happen to find each other and start our Instagrams around the same time. And we were like, wait, let's all talk about it because we had 2 people that were from Canada and like in different, settings. And then I was like, but everyone's an outpatient, like I'm in acute care. So it just shows that like we all came from different backgrounds and then all went to school around the same time, then all came out and like now we're all doing completely different things. So it like and obviously you were a part of it, but it literally I don't know how to even describe it. Like I became a TV show host overnight and I didn't think twice. I just full blown went into it and so many people tuned in and we just had like rapid fire one after the other talk about their PT origin story and kind of what they're up to now. And it just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
blew up.
No, that was awesome. But the fact that you turned around so quick, you said it was like 24 hours, it was in your brain. You threw me in that group message. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to be a part of this. And I'm like getting hyped and everything. And like you said, you created your own TV show. And instead of just doing a live by yourself or a live with one other person, you legit were just kicking people off. You're like, all right, 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, I can't remember what it was. With an hour, I don't think you expected everyone to
We
say yes.
No, I did not. And then people didn't answer the group chat. Like I put so many people in a group message and not everyone answers, but I kicked half of them out. And I was like, well, they don't know what they're missing now. Because not only does like Instagram live, we also found out cuts people off after an hour. So then we had to do a second Instagram live. And then it turns out you can share two lives at the same time. Fun fact. But like it was like fun chaos. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it
No,
worked.
it definitely was fun because it was just like you said, it was like a rapid fire. Like, and Will Boyd, you still on here, Will? He's like the king of podcasts. He's got like 28 podcasts like he releases a year, and I can't keep up with him. But he's always talking about how like having your own show essentially and just bringing people on. So the fact that like you thought of this and was like in the moment of everything that was going on because people PT origin stories. You're like, you know what? Let's just have everyone share
Mhm.
their stories. And it was great to see a snippet of so many people from so many different backgrounds all over the world. You have people, outside of the U.S. as well. And you created your own TV show, a rapid fire TV show, like you said, like a news channel. And you're like, all right, fine. And I was like talking. I was like, all right, cool. Like, and I'm happy watching the next person on. And it was a very, very fun experience. So for those of you guys that are like watching, like create your own TV show, you can do something similar. I don't know. How many do you recommend after going back and doing, you had like what, 10 or 11 people. How many people would you recommend doing something in that type of
Five,
five?
maybe five.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we ended up with 11 plus myself. And I didn't even talk about me because I already posted about it. So I'm like, yeah, it was fun. It was organized chaos, fun chaos. But just maybe to keep yourself sane, do five if you're gonna do a huge IG live.
Yeah, it's like because I felt like I was overwhelmed and anxious for you. I was like, oh, she's gonna get in time and all this stuff, and
But it worked.
yeah, it definitely worked, and it was cool to see that because what Instagram does is again it likes people on the platform, and one thing is when you go live, whether you follow people heavily or not, it'll like sometimes you'll get notifications like this person is going live, especially when this person goes live with someone else. Like
Yeah.
so, you were able to get 11 other audiences onto your page as well at the same time and like be able to grow not just your audience but everyone else's audience and engagement and all that stuff is growing as
hmm
well because like about half the people on there like I didn't really know or recognize or follow at all, but I was able to connect with more people since then as well, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. But like that's just kind of in all honesty when I say like I don't know the algorithm and I don't have a content calendar, I just do what I want. Like some people are now going to be like, "Oh my god, that drove so much engagement. Like I want to do it." Like I genuinely did not think like that. I was like, "Oh, this is fun." So like because there's more authenticity behind it because I'm not trying to play like a numbers game, I think that
Yeah.
is also helping the situation like incidentally.
Yeah, and I think that's if you those of you guys who didn't catch what she just said, like a lot of times we try to find the biggest hack and the biggest algorithm changes and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, this is something that I preach as well. Like, when you go on your account, like don't forget at the end of the day to still be you and be authentic and just serve your audience and like having fun with it as well and
hmm
just doing whatever the heck you want. And I think when you're able to do that and genuinely connecting with people, and that's what you do all the time. I see you like sharing other people's stuff out. You ask questions and give back to literally what they asked for, and then you comment on the people's stuff, and like you just naturally like a genuine human being essentially being that is at the end of the day like all other stuff doesn't really matter, like you can
Right.
tweak little things here and there, but if you're only doing it for that and not for serving your audience, like it's not going to matter, people can see straight through that including the algorithm, and because it comes out to your
Yeah.
posts too, so
hmm It does. No, for sure. I agree with that 100%.
yeah, because like when I first started doing it, like I was just doing memes and I was cranking out memes out every day because I kept thinking I literally just batch create like 20, 30 memes in a night, and then like next week I'll do the same thing. So I would have stuff for days just because that's the way my brain thought. You know, like
Right.
I
But
wasn't.
it's also, yeah, and like you also have to think, like you mentioned earlier, Instagram works differently now than it did then. So like Instagram used to have chronological posts, which is why people had to post so often because they wanted to be at the top of people's feeds, where now it's all like metrics and algorithms. So, you know, how many times are you scrolling on your feed and you see a post and it's like 3 days ago? So
Right.
it's still trying to show you new stuff, even though it's not the most recent.
Yeah. Those are the guys that are still on. What's up, Chantel? She says organized chaos is my favorite. Deja says
Honestly, same.
Deja says we love Steph. Give you the
Oh, that's my girl right there.
Deja's awesome. Got to meet
She's
her.
so cool.
Yes, she's awesome. If you guys have any questions, drop down. I just don't want to hog Steph with all these questions because I know because I've already talked to her a little bit before this as well, but wanted to, she's touched up a lot of things that I was going to ask anyways. But what like big, like, do you have any other big tips or things to avoid, I guess? Because I know you've given a lot of tips already. So any like major tips that you haven't given yet, or like something that we should avoid when we're doing
Mm,
anything on Instagram?
yeah. I mean, like kind of another tip, and like we might not agree on this, but so like cut me off at any point. So when I first started my platform, I was talking to someone who kind of was trying to give me advice on like how or like what to do because this is right before I started my new job. So they were like, you need to have an audience and you need to know who you're talking to and like figure out your target niche and blah blah blah. If you're running a business, I think that's correct. If you're running an Instagram platform that's like similarly done like mine, where it's more, I guess, I don't know, I call it like lifestyle-y because it's not like a business or clinic based. Um, I don't think you need a niche. I think you need to just put out what you want to put out and like kind of let itself figure it out. Because in the beginning, I was like overthinking. Again, this is from my personal experience, but I was like overthinking, like, who am I talking to? And, you know, what do I want to do? And I was like, nah, screw this. Like, I'm going to put out just whatever I want to talk about. And it worked in my favor because people were like, okay, one day she'll post about acute care, the next day she'll post about pre-PT stuff. But like, I kind of want to learn about both. Or maybe I'll just skip over this post. Like, you know, like not every post needs to be for the same person because you want to grow your audience too. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of my view on it. But I know everyone has a different take because they're like, you need to know who you're talking to. And I don't know. I think it needs to be specific, but not like microscopic specific.
Yeah. And I definitely, see where you're coming from and definitely agree with that because I think from you just grown essentially for what a personal brand, like just growing your lifestyle, whatever you want to call that, versus like a business or anything like that. Like, because your ultimate goal isn't to create like a business, like full-time business or anything from this. So, and I think that's what has made it your engagement and everything because people are just connecting with you and not the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. So, and now, is it okay if I add to that a little bit?
Yeah.
So, for those of you on here, because I know this is influential brands for entrepreneurs as
Mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur group, even if you are having a niche or within a specific area or like population you want to serve, like you can still show like yourself and your personality and your lifestyle and everything with it. Like for me, like
Mm-hmm.
I was tired of shit and I was laying on my bed and I just did a freaking Instagram story just laying down, and it has nothing to do with how to grow your Instagram or how to grow your brand, but like also that is part of my brand, me just like showing that. So like you don't have to limit yourself to just posting, even if you do have a business, like only like top 10 tips for back pain, top 3 tips for how to deadlift and all these different things. Like I still preach on like having your personality and things to kind of to go in with that. But if you're like trying to sell something, like that's a little bit different of like selling 2 different products and 2 different avenues is harder when you first start
Mm-hmm.
off, at least. So
Right.
from that side, speaking to the entrepreneurs and here that I'm using it as a business, but if you're starting off and you don't really know, like, just be you, and everything else will unfold. So
Right. Yeah. I think that's definitely like that's the perfect, yeah, exactly what I agree with and like was pretty much trying to say because like I feel like the more businessy side and I'm just like me on Instagram.
yeah, yeah. And which is another reason why I wanted to bring you in here too, because I think a lot of times, we're in business and we see other people doing things online, and I think it's because we act more so under the pressure versus just being you and just like I put whatever I feel like putting out whenever I feel like putting it out there, but I still engage because in interacting like a community because it's social, just like how I would in real life with anybody or whatever that is, and I think that's why you've had the success and the growth and engagement and the brand that you have because of that, and I think that's because we're alike in certain ways, but we're also different in certain, like opposite of like how we see things. And I just want to show people that like both ways work. So I
Hmm.
think you're having a
Yeah,
bunch.
for sure.
Let me see if I can catch up these comments quick. So Jane says, I like we said, Steph, about not limiting yourself to one audience, currently going through the same struggle. So definitely appreciate your advice. And look at you. See, that's why I want to bring you. Love both perspectives. Pauline says, you guys can hate on me if you guys want. That's okay. You guys can hate on Steph too, but she's our guest. It'd be
Yeah,
nice to
you could
her.
hate on me. It's fine.
No, but Steph, do you think you'll start offering priced products soon?
I
Pauline.
don't know what I would price. My advice? Like, I don't know. So if you have any ideas, Pauline, let me know.
Yeah. Do you follow Pauline?
I do.
Yeah.
She's
So
my girl.
yeah. Stephanie says, "Me too. I love hearing the other side. If it not posting every day." Jane says, "Love you too, Andrew." That's okay, Jane. You don't have to suck up to me on the live video, but
Oh, Andrew, you got some of my followers to your group. I might be taking some of yours from the live. That's it.
hey, that's okay. If you guys are team Steph, I won't be mad about it. I understand why. But yeah, it's like So yeah, Stephanie says it's not. You don't have to post every single day, like within the feed. It was definitely different before, and I've just more so created it as a habit, so it's carried on through. But
Hmm.
like I said, like that's why I wanted to bring you in here because you definitely have a different perspective, and you're still doing well with your engagements. And I think a lot of people just like think so hard into it, and I just see that it's just natural. You don't ever force anything, which is why I think a lot of people gravitate towards that. But but yeah, so that's you know why I think it works well with this interview.
Yeah. And I think like that's what I mean, the calls that I've recently had, like that's it, aside from authenticity, I'm like, don't pressure yourself to put out content. Like if you want to bum it for a day and like not go on social media, like that's fine. People, people, the ones who like actually want to follow you for you or whatever it is you're putting out there are like, not that they're not going to care, but like it's not going to impact them with their engagement. So like you'll have more authentic people behind you and then you'll grow or more organically because you don't want to just have like a huge influx of people just because you're putting out like 20,000 things in 7 days because they might not actually be there for the content. They might be there for whatever else reason. So
yeah,
like I don't know, it comes through a bunch of things and like something that I was thinking about kind of before coming on too is like this is where my head is at. So this is also kind of a personal example, but I could have easily put up 10 pictures of me because I'm in the hospital. I'm in acute care. I could have easily put up 10 pictures of me wearing PPE to try to get like followers and clout because like every time, oh, I say clout and I'm like a 13-year-old TikToker, but like followers. This is why like I literally spend too much time on the internet.
that's
But like
okay.
I could have easily put up 10 pictures of me of PPE and then I have like every person under the sun commenting and following me because I'm like an essential healthcare worker and then they're doing it for that reason. But like that has nothing to do with who I am or like what information I want to put out. And like I just happened to put like one out today, for example, but it's also the only one I have because like
Right.
working can't take pictures. Um But like I did it because I was like, all right, I'll just put one out because it's also the end of kind of everything that's going on. But like that's just kind of the example I wanted to use. Like I'm not gonna put stuff out just for the sake of putting it out. And like, yeah, that would have gotten me followers, but like it's also not something that is actually making me of who I am as a person or a clinician or a role model or whatever you want to call me person on Instagram. So that's just like kind of a huge something I was thinking about before, like what exactly are you putting out going to afford you? Is it going to make you happy? And then like what is it going to afford the people that you actually want to have your Instagram community with?
Woo! If I had a mic, I'd drop it right now. That was, y'all, give it up to Steph. Give some clapping emojis.
I I get so deep on lives. I realize it's like the weird. I don't know. It's. I didn't work today, so I'm like everything's in my head.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you going deep on the live. Giving back to everybody in here as well. And I think, like you said, like you didn't work all day. So sometimes like all that stuff is in your head that you just want to get out. So definitely appreciate you jumping on here live. If no one else has any other questions, Jane says fire. But yeah, if no one has any other questions, like, can we all thank Steph for coming on today? And if you guys have any questions to think about it, you guys can either comment on here. You guys can go follow her on her Instagram. So it's at dbt.steph. Her last name really isn't Haney. But at the end of the day, guys, like I talk a lot about this in the group as well, being an influential brand and growing your brand out. You just have to be you. You have to be authentic, and basically Steph is authentic as it gets, and she doesn't care what one person thinks to another. She does what she wants to do what you guys want as well. But thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate everything. And any final words?
No, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. And stay tuned for some more stuff to come, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff coming. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me, you can message me on Facebook too or Instagram. I'm pretty receptive either way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always willing to help people out. And like if you need help, whether it's with like personal Instagram stuff and you want me to take a look at your account or whatever and help you out, I'm more than happy to do so. So just let me know.
Sounds good. Yeah, big things come in. We'll keep it at that. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Steph.
Yeah,
And
thanks guys.
as always, guys, make life humorous. You guys all have an amazing night.
Bye.
See ya.